Hi fam, my name is Tiffy Starchild for Black Nerd Problems, and I am here bringing you a spoiler-free review of Black Widow. Spoiler-free. It's spoiler-free. It's totally spoiler-free. There are no spoilers in this review, and that's actually going to be really difficult for me because I want to talk about everything in this movie. So how do I give y'all something while giving you nothing? You feel me? I like to get this out the way. Yes, you should go see this movie. Someone asked me if I would be seeing it in theaters again when it's released on July 9th, and the answer is yes. I will most likely be getting it on Disney Plus when it's released with that premiere access on the same day, but I also want to see it again in theaters. I'm gonna tell you why. You know when you go to see these Marvel movies and you're around other Marvel fans and it's just like a theater full of energy and comic book nerds and people that really like these movies? I think that this film plays into that. It's not fan servicey, but there are definitely moments where it felt good to be amongst other people that were also on this journey in the MCU. For that reason, yes, seeing it in the theaters and also getting it on premiere access because it's the type of movie I can watch again and again and again. So there you go. Go see the movie. And I didn't go in expecting much because we already know that this movie takes place between the events of Captain America Civil War and then Avengers Infinity War. And as we all know, Natasha dies during the events of Avengers Endgame and doesn't even get a funeral. So a lot of folks are feeling that it's kind of too little, too late to suddenly care about this character that's been around since Iron Man 2 in 2010 and we know is currently dead. Like dead. Look, there she is. And for me personally, I never really liked or disliked her character. I was detached, and that could be because we didn't know too much about her besides little nuggets that she would drop about her past or Budapest. And I like to see that little flippy move that she would do. I like that. And where we currently are in phase 4 of the MCU after the emotional trauma of WandaVision and whatever was going on in the Falcon and Winter Soldier and the current time-hopping roller coaster that we're experiencing with Loki, we are trying to move forward with what's happening, and this movie is taking us back to, what, 2015? What was I even doing at that time? Oh, I remember. And the release date of this film kept getting pushed back last year, so a lot of the hype, a lot of the momentum was just killed. Like Natasha. So I went in like excited for another Marvel film, but not caring that much. And then I left caring so much. Let's get into the cast, starting with Natasha. It's Black Widow. She done been there, done that. We are more than familiar with this character, and Scarlett Johansson plays her true to form. There's nothing really new or revolutionary here about the performance, but it's a solid one, so that's good. We see David Harbour as Alexei, aka the Red Guardian, and y'all, he was funnier than I expected, and I was a little bit worried because I'm not familiar with his character at all from the comic books. You don't need to be. And you know, I felt a little something. I felt a little something for this character throughout this movie. Melina is played by Rachel Weisz, who I have just loved ever since The Mummy, and there were a couple of times where I was surprised by her in this film, even though I don't think that they gave her too much to work with, and she definitely should have had a lot more screen time because I think that she's great, so. But do you know who stole this whole movie? Tiffy, how would they know? I will tell you, Florence Pew is so funny in this movie. She absolutely nails this role as Yelena and provides so many unexpectedly funny moments. This is her film, and now I too want a vest with many pockets. And real quick, because it matters, there was a lot of melanin in this film. Some natural hair, some space buns. There was one thing that happened in the beginning of the film that had me just a little bit concerned, but you know what? As for the story itself, y'all know me. I have to see things a couple of times to let it absorb so that I can marinate with it. Yeah, sometimes I gotta take notes. All the time I have to take notes. I obviously don't have the opportunity to do that when it comes to these screenings. So I'm not the person to ask like if the story all the way makes sense or if there are glaring plot holes. It takes me a couple of viewings to catch on to things like that. But for me, I think the story made a lot of sense. I thought the pacing of the movie was really great, and although there were these dialogue-heavy scenes and these scenes that had like this crazy action, like the action in the movie was, I've never seen things like that outside of like the Fast and Furious. And of course, those comedic moments, or moments that just kind of tugged at your heartstrings a little bit. Everything was stacked and arranged in a way I was never bored. I was never checking the time. It felt like a really good journey. So that's the story for me. This movie answers the question about what Nat was doing in between Civil War and Infinity War, but I'm not sure anybody was asking that question to begin with. And it reveals so much about Black Widow as a character, but at this point, like I said, she gone now. So it's a little bit frustrating in that sense, but it didn't affect the way that I enjoyed the film. I got very invested in this film and these new characters. So even though we know that whatever happens in this movie, Nat is obviously going to survive, there were still stakes. I'm still invested. You got me, even though I know that ultimately she's, there were some themes in the movie that were unexpected for me from a Marvel film, and I'm really excited for this movie to be released because I want to see the conversation around those themes. I want to talk to people about it, but I have to wait until the movie is actually released in order to be able to do that. I do appreciate director Kate Shortland for taking the film there, and that's all that I can really say about it at this point. But I'm just noting it. We're just gonna jot that on the wall, and we're just gonna pin it up for later. And yes, there is absolutely an end credit scene that you need to stay for, and I won't spoil it. The only thing that I will say about that is, overall, fam, I think that this is a really solid film, and I think that it does do the character of Black Widow justice, even if the timing for it is way off. Because she carried the Avengers, okay? She did not have to be the strongest or the richest, but she held them down, and I feel like this movie is giving her just a little bit of what she deserves. In conclusion, I think that you should see Black Widow. It is worth your time and your coin, even if you're not necessarily a Black Widow fan, or if at this point you're just not feeling as hype about it. See the movie. It will be in theaters on July 9th, and on that same day you can also get it on Premier Access for $30 along with your Disney Plus subscription. And if you're not trying to pay any money at all, it will be free along with your Disney Plus subscription on October 6th. That's it for me. Let me know what your thoughts are on this film before you go to see it, and also make sure that you are following Black Nerd Problems over all social media, as well as me, Tiffy Starchild, because once this movie drops, I will not shut up about it. I just won't. Thanks, fam, and I'll see you next time.